Hey guys, this is Pingu with part -1 of the Dwarf Fortress tutorial. If the -1's throwing you off guard a little bit, it's because you want to go to part 1. This is just for people who have done some of the tutorials to go back and create a new world and figure out how to do that so they don't have to play on my save file. And in order to create a new world, we have these two options here: create new world now and design new world with parameters. Create new world will use the default settings and take you straight into world creation, while parameters has one more screen between it. I will go parameters because I actually want to generate a smaller region. We have this little alpha thing. Hit escape to get by that. But you have the options here of what size you want the region. These are probably the more important. By default, when you create new world now, it will create a medium island. Which is fine, it's a medium island, but if you want something larger, I don't know why you'd want something larger, it's pretty large. If you want something smaller like I do, because I will give this out to everybody, and I don't want to lag their computers just because they're playing on a medium region, I can go small. You can do a lot more with this parameters. I guess read up on it, I won't cover it, but pick small region, hit enter, and just like that we're developing as if you hit create new world now. It goes through, it tries to generate a lot of regions, and it rejects a lot of them. We see a 140, and this is all random. That's why there's rejections in there, to keep it so you get regions that make sense. It's created all the settings, and it's going through the age of history pretty damn quickly, actually. I won't even have time to cover it before it finishes, but see, it goes up to 1,500, and it shows all the historical figures that have lived and died, and all the events that have influenced the history of this lovely region, the future universe. But we can look through it. You can see that there's some mountains and there's some purple, sinister regions we don't really want to go to, and some blue, nicer areas down here. The Hill of Flutes. That sounds nice. As well as some seas for some oceans and some rivers. You know, it's got everything. Including, I think, the glacier and blizzards up there. But yeah, we're fine. This is a fine area, so we just hit enter to accept it. It saves all the 1,500, so almost a 50, units we have in the region, which is a pretty small number, actually. It's a random amount, and sometimes you have a lot of them die off. Sometimes they'll die off, all of them will die off before you even get to the 1,050 mark. It's happened, especially if you change your settings a bit. But choose start playing now, or start playing. You'll have a choice of which region you want. In my case, you want region 1, because I don't have any other save files, and it automatically picks it. But if you already have another region, the new one you probably you created is probably region 2, or maybe even region 3 if you already have 2 regions. So you want to choose that. This region that I'll be giving out to everybody is X. Oh god, oh god, I'm not gonna pronounce that. But everybody's gonna use the same one. I'm gonna give it out for future lessons. And 3 modes here. Dwarf Fortress is the default mode, and the game gets its name through it. Adventure is an RPG type game. We play it in the same region, so you can actually visit your old fortress if you built one, and you can do whatever. And Legends is a text screen, basically, of all the history that's gone on in your region. So you can, if you like reading randomly generated content, go for it. Adventure, and as Adventure, I would advise trying it out because it actually adds a lot to the game. Like it's not an add-on; it is a custom game mode, and it's pretty fun, especially when you created a history with this Dwarf Fortress mode. We're just going to choose it. It's default, and it's what I enjoy and what this tutorial series is covering. So we've already got a pretty good region, actually. I'm gonna just keep it here. So it'll pick a random. Okay. So you have a world. The entire world shows up here. You have a little cursor here, and then this region is everything within the cursor, and then this local area is everything within the region cursor. So it's 3 different zoom levels of these 3 different panels. You can move around. You see how regions going one at a time, world's going slowly, while locals it seems to be almost warping around. It's not actually warping around, it's just showing the latest area, but that's what it looks like. So where was my lovely little region? That's a bit too hot, but yeah, okay, so you have an area, say as, let's go over here, yeah, let's move, and we can move the local area, that's mountains, let's just put it there for now. I'll show you how to move it in a second. But we have this area here is warm, heavily forested, has thick vegetation, and surrounding areas are calm. This is actually a very good spot. The first three are pretty self-explanatory because it's warm for reasons. The surroundings is the part where that shows you how vicious the enemies will be per se. Calm is probably the best you can go for. Not necessarily the best, but it's kind of like the good neutral. Is a way of putting it. It mean that not a whole lot of animals will attack you, and I even think you just will have an easier time, which makes a good choosing a starting point for this tutorial. You have any brooks in the area, and down here you have all of the resources in the area. So we have some yellow sand, which is brown because it's a sand or it's clay or it's something that's generally unusable as a rock. You do not want a whole lot of these brown ones because you build your industry off of these rocks and these ores, and it just makes it hard to exist. Sand can be used to make glass, but that's something completely different. These white ones or gray ones are minerals that are quite useful, and in building any sort of fortress, because you need rocks in order to build a rock-based fortress. You have this white one, which is actually very good. This is a flux stone, so it can be used to make steel. You have these grayer ones, which are just generic rocks. Some of them are more impressive than others, but these are just the most common rocks, and the fact that we have the most common of this flux is a very good area. You will discover what you want and what you do not want, but this looks fine. If we go over to another area, like even just one tile to the left, we now have this blue sort of water icon there, as well as different environments. Like this one has some more sand and loam, but this is an aquifer. This means that there's aquifer layers. In this case, only one, so it's not that bad. But an aquifer is something that if you dig into it, and it'll warn you about a damp stone. But if you dig into it, you will flood your fortress. An infinite water supply will spring up through the rocks that carry this water. Which is a lot of the times these sands and loams, which is why aquifers will generally have more of these brown sands and whatnot. You do not want aquifers; avoid them like the plague. Just like you kind of don't even want you don't want sinister places. You'll just learn. Like you don't want mountains that don't have any trees. You will learn. Generally, you want something like a river. You want something that has trees, vegetation, calm surroundings, and this isn't even exactly the same spot I had before, but it's just as good. So I'm going to. You can move around this selection. Okay, I forgot to cover it, but this little rectangle here, this 4x4 rectangle, is your embark location. So you don't embark in the local region; you embark within the local region. A little square here. So you can move it around with U to go up, N to go down, H to go to the left, and K to go to the right. Resize it while holding Shift. So hold Shift and U to go up, hold Shift and N to go down, hold Shift and K to go to the right, and hold Shift and H to go to the left. And I'm just going to make a 3x3 square here. I'm going to move it over the left into the water. So we have a river on the right, maybe even yeah, no, and on the left, sorry. River on the left. That's fine. We've got this little selection thing here. Another thing to cover is F1 and F2 of view biome. So you hit F1, and it'll show this is a biome, which is all these settings up here. Usually these will just pick from the biggest, largest biome in your embark region. You hit F2 because there's a second biome we're intersecting here. Is this one down here, which is just our river tiles, but they can be different. In this case, they're almost the same exact thing, so we don't really care. But just be careful. Like just because it's one biome that is good doesn't mean that there's not some sinister biome lurking in the bottom left corner of your map. So you just want to check that. And sometimes biomes can have positive differences or aquifers or whatever, but this is fine for us. We will hit E to embark here. To warn you, you hit Enter, and you greeted this screen. This is the end of the tutorial of -1, because part 0 will be exclusively over this Prepare for Journey Carefully menu. And I'll explain what Play Now is, but And sorry for going quickly, but I want to get this under 10 minutes, and you can see it can take a while to pick a starting location, more than anything else, and it's a well-spent time, because it will influence everything else to do in the game. And that's all. Like, see you in part 0.